Okay, I believe we are live. Welcome, all those whose eyes happen to chance on this, to what I plan to stream mostly as a Three Mountains achievement run in Europa Universalis 4. I started a version of this run a few years ago. I got a good distance of the way through. It probably would have gone to the end, but I kind of got tired and I wanted to come back now. I actually said that, so I told myself that I wasn't allowed to consider my PhD finished until it was done. I finished my PhD since then, but I never finished the run. So, this run kind of was initially intended, this achievement at least was initially intended to highlight ways in which this game could be broken, in which it could be exploited. You start as this small island off the Chinese and Japanese coasts, and the goal is to conquer the entire world in the slightly less than 400 years that the game gives you, starting in 1444. It's not so hard now. I will be using I'll be using save scums. I won't be using exploits to do it. But it's still fascinating because it is still breaking the game. It's kind of, in some ways, although it has a lot of the biases and ideas of the people who made it and the society from which it came from, in some ways this game is a attempt, and I think quite an amazing one, to make a simulation that roughly copies the historiographic materialistic forces of the early modern era, to create a world that follows a path that looks quite like our own, whilst being in every way divergent. It is a completely chaotic system. Every single action in it we make leads to a different eventual universe, but economies grow and societies develop in a way that is only partly scripted. Lots of it is a natural toolbox for understanding historical materialism, and we're going to break it. We are going to do everything we can to find holes in it, flaws in it, but also we are very much going to play into it at the same time. We're going to do almost exactly what is intended. We are going to act like an ideal state at the end of the early modern era in what we do. We are going to focus almost entirely on creating a huge trade income, and we are going to politely ask most of the world to join us. So I'm jumping into the game after just under 20 years, which is good because we start with a terrible ruler, a scripted ruler. You always start with them, who didn't manage to lose in any battles despite him leading almost all of them. And clearly we've come quite a long way. It's a little, ryukyu, the colour that we'll be playing with this entire game is a little difficult to pick out. It's a bit better in the diplomatic map mode. It's this kind of true green rather than this blue green. This is also my province, but I haven't caught it yet because the autonomy is high. But yeah, we've clearly come a long way already. I've played for a few hours, and we are already the Shogun of Japan. So let me maybe start by just talking through a little bit of how that happened. So we start as Ryukyu. There's a few different strategies for doing this Ryukyu in World Conquest. Lots of people will become a horde. Becoming a horde is a really powerful way to do a World Conquest because every province you take gives you monarch points. It costs some to core it, but you can raise it for monarch points. Some people will head immediately down to the Philippines and kind of beeline for Malacca. I am going to do something close to that, but not exactly that. Others, I'm sure there's a huge variety of tactics. I'm sure some people go west and colonise, and it's probably possible to do a world conquest on all of these. But this one's a really fun one because if you become the shogun, which means becoming a daimyo, which is a government reform, and this government reform, and then taking Kyoto, then shoguns can have as many daimyos, as many vassals effectively, as they want without a diplo relations cost. So we can vassalize most of the world. And right now, we're going to be doing that mostly through force, but towards the end of the game, the way that we're going to play it is going to be almost entirely diplo vassalizing people. So we start as a Ming tributary. We are paying them monthly, yearly tribute. They protect us if anyone ever declares war on us. For example, Korea is still a Ming tributary, and if I was to try and declare war on them, I'd have to fight Ming China as well. All of the daimyos under the shogun start as daimyos, and so if I was to attack any of them, they would bring in the shogun, and that would bring in every other daimyo. And I would have been completely destroyed. I start with a few troops and a few boats. But there is a very useful diplomatic option that I've never really used apart from doing these runs, and that is enforce peace. If two people are fighting and at least one of them has more than 100 opinion of you, you can tell the other one to stop fighting. And if you are a tiny little island down here, well, actually 3 islands, that's obviously more than 3. 3 mountains, quite a few islands. But if you are weak and insignificant, as we were, they will say no, and you will be called into the war. And so the first step, almost immediately, it's really common that Hosokawa, who no longer exist, but who were these provinces, it's really common that they declare war on Kono. And that's a war that they're obviously going to win. Kono is the same size as it was the whole time, except for the fact that you can build relations with Kono as quickly as possible, and before that war is over, you can enforce peace on Hosokawa. They will say no, and you will join the war. If you're lucky and careful, you can take in that time their capital of Setsu. I was able to get Setsu, Ava, and Tosa. Harima, although it's their core, so it appears when I hover over this, is actually owned by Yamana at the start of the game. Leaving them just in this province, and was able to peace out for these 3. And that's obviously on its own a huge step up, but they're still high autonomy. They're still not exactly producing very much, but that gets you from being a one province kind of nothing to some really valuable land, particularly Setsu, which is a centre of trade. I've upgraded it once, makes China ware, and is right next to Kyoto. That's the vital bit. We can keep doing enforcing peace. I enforce peace on Yamana, who are fighting a war against Izumo. This is a really good war to look out for if you're ever doing this strategy, because Izumo at the start of the game have a fort, and so they're a level 3 fort. So anyone who declares war on them will have to siege down a level 3 fort. And the AI is not very good at thinking this through. In fact, Date just lost a huge war and has been eaten by high-tech armor because of this. And so all 6,000 men of Yamana just sitting on this thought, stubbornly refusing to lead despite having made no progress. It was very easy to take these 2 provinces. You have to be a bit careful, because to do these enforced pieces, everyone needs to like you, so you have to keep aggressive expansion from getting too high, but that's quite plausible. I think I fought one more war. No, I fought 2 more wars. I fought one war against Usegi, who were here, who grew quite big quite quickly. Then they declared on Oda, and I was able to enforce peace there and go and conquer all of Usegi. I took only this one province, and the reason I took it as a centre of trade. I'll be a shogun all game, so I am locked to kingdom rank. I will not be able to become an empire, which would mean that all cultures of my culture group, which are these three, cultures. I'll talk a lot. I'll talk a lot during the stream. I'll talk a bit about what cultures mean and what they represent in the ways that they aren't quite good ways to understand the world and the map that we're spreading out across. But I will have already, and will obviously be taking a lot of Saigoku. Sorry about pronunciations. Culture provinces, and I start as Kyushin. And I don't want to. I'm going to be quite careful with using the cultures I add. I will probably add Korean. Also, you don't get too bad about a malus for not. If they're in your culture group, you only get a little reduction in the power they can give you. So, all that to say, I don't plan on adding Togoku culture. And so I don't really need that many provinces over here. They're not as powerful, but I do want the centre of trade, because I'm going to want every centre of trade that I can get my hands on. In that war, I took this province, and I also took this province and released it as a vassal, and that's crucial for what happened next, which was not expected. It was not the strategy I expected. There was a strategy for this achievement years ago, where you did exactly that first step. You took Setsu, maybe some other provinces, and then you waited for Ashikaga, the shogun, who still exists. They're over here, but they no longer have Kyoto. They're no longer the shogun. You wait for them to declare war on you, and when they declare war on you, unbeknownst to them, the entirety of Ming China joins that war, because you're their tributary. I'm pretty sure the game has fixed that, and when Ashikaga, as the AI, goes to look at declaring war on you, it sees that Ming is going to attack you. So that strategy where you use the force of Ming's army, and to some extent the navy, to conquer Japan, and particularly to seize Kyoto, no longer works. That would allow you to be the shogun, often within the first couple of years. What I was expecting to do, which is what I did last time I played through this run, is just enforce peace over and over again, grow a big power base in Japan, and then fight Ashikaga. I wouldn't be stronger than them, but what I can do is I can be stronger navally. That's comparatively easy to do, and I'll be doing it a lot this run. And I can trap them on an island, most likely. Kyushu. Especially because all of the straits of this island are blocked by in the Seto Inland Sea. So if you have a big enough fleet in the Seto Inland Sea, they're not going anywhere. It's also possible to trap them on Shikoku. I thought this was called Josakabe. I'm stupid. Shikoku. I kind of trust the game more than me on this. The Josakabe were a tribe that lived here. Yeah. So that's what I was expecting to do, to have to enforce peace all the way around, have to fight Ashikaga myself, trap them navally, and take Kyoto. That was a weird pronunciation. But just to fill in the story, I then also, given that I was already so friendly with Oda, I just defended their provinces. Tsutsu also declared war on them, so I enforced peace on them. They said no again. The level of when people say yes to enforce peace is really high. This is a one province minor. At the time I was 6 provinces and a much bigger army, but still they say no, and I was able to go and take this province as well, which is nice because it makes tea, which I am drinking at the moment. But then something completely unexpected happened. Ashikaga declared war on me. I thought this wouldn't happen because they know now that Ming exists, but they didn't declare war directly on me. They declared war on my vassal. I'm sure this is a known technique, exploit in the community, but I haven't researched this run particularly. I'm mostly going off the things I learned from getting halfway through it last time. I didn't realise this could happen. I was quite out of position when it happened. It was a nasty war, lots of restarts. I had to be very, very careful. But they declared war on my vassal, which brought me in as the war leader on the defender's side, which brings Ming in as my, at the time, overlord. And so now the quite powerful Ashikaga and all their vassals are fighting Ming. Ming was a bit useless. They were finishing up a war with Oirat. Their fleets kind of passed through the Amakusa Sea and the Ryukyu Islands a bit, but they didn't really turn up in earnest until they finished off the Oirat War. So I had this army. It took quite a few tries to work out how to do things best. I was still desperately... I was finishing up a fort in Harima at the time, and I found that actually the daimyo vassals, even though combined they're much stronger than you, none of them will initiate a fight. And so I just left my, at the time, 8k army on this province, and it kept them busy. Whilst the Ashikaga spent ages with their whole army sieging down this fort, the AR was a bit stupid about that, and there was a big war going on at the time between Usegi and basically everyone. So all of the north end of the island was kind of occupied. The south end, there's still way more troops than me, but I stood on this fort until it completed, which gave me zone of control for all of that kind of hijinks. I managed to walk this army onto Shikoku. Eventually, I ended up taking most of it back to Ryukyu with ships, but bit by bit, I got kind of local naval superiority, and I managed to get some troops to Higo, which Ming then used to drop troops. And by the end of the war, there was like 50,000 Ming troops here. They were a bit terrible. The Ming stacks are huge, which means they're much bigger than the combat width, which means that almost all, well, like more than half the troops are not in the fight, but they are suffering the morale damage. So you would see like 8k of daimyo troops beating a 30k Ming army. But still, they just have such a large number of troops. Let's see if they still have a lot of manpower. They probably did spend quite a lot of manpower. They don't have much manpower. I'll talk in a bit about what I'm actually going to do to get started today, and it might be a war against Ming. But yeah, with Ming's help, we were able to quickly take Kyushu and push our way along onto the Japanese mainland. Does it have a name? I'm not sure. That's areas, that's regions. Region is just Japan. Yep. You have to be a bit careful because you absolutely want to take Kyoto. You don't want them to. But it may be that they would have occupied it for me. I was quite careful to make sure I did it. And I was able the whole time to hold all of these straits, such that there was like 20k troops stuck on this island, and no, 13k I think it was. Ashikaga was a bit scared to declare. The end was a little bit messy and could have been done better. I actually have the save files. I am completely willing to save scum in this campaign. Not only is it a good way to do the campaign, it's fascinating to see the same period of time play out in different ways, and it can teach you a lot. It can also allow you to have some kind of unfair premonition. Like, I did reload the save at some points just before Usegi declared war on Oda. I had already managed to do an enforced peace on them, but you have to be pretty quick when you see a war starting to start improving relations, and to get up to 100 relations so that you can enforce peace. So yeah, things like that, you know, I get a little bit of unfair premonition by going back and forward in time. But in a lot of ways, it's fascinating how much the world is a different world. Even those little things. Like, this was a few months back in time, and by the time I arrived here, Usegi was sieging then this fort, but the first run, the Oda army still existed, the second it didn't. Just these little differences, everything cascades, everything is chaos, nothing can really be known, and it's all just soup, really. So, with Ming's help, we took Kyoto, and I also took Satsuma. thinking about it now, I'm like, why did I take Satsuma? I could have taken... Well, actually, no. Okay, no, this actually does answer it. At the time, I wanted to take something so that I could fabricate a claim on Korea, which anything on the Amakusa Sea would do. I would have loved if it was also on the South Korean Sea, but actually the thing on the South Korean Sea is this fort, which would have been great to take, but what I actually plan to do pretty soon is start vassalizing Uchi and have this province as well that they just took from the remains of Asakawa, and have these three provinces which are great provinces. They're all grassland. Both of these are centres of trade. This one has a fort, which I might not keep, and will allow me access to the north side of the island. I could have, and maybe should have, ages ago, taken Eshigo, just to have access to the north side of the island, because I only just managed to get my merchants into Girin, only just got the trade range. Okay. So that's kind of what has happened up until now. We have a reasonably sized navy, certainly bigger than any individual daimyo, not yet enough to challenge Ming, but I might just build up to that. Little trade fleet up here, it's got a couple more trade ships coming. I'm on the fence about whether to build galleys or heavies, but also there isn't that much. If I do want to do the declaration now, which would be quite good, they just passed the first reform. Their mandate growth isn't that high because it's too early in the game for them to have prosperity yet. In fact, they have a little bit of devastation there. That's nice. Do I get to see? Yeah. I don't know. They're even in the best places. I think these must start with prosperity because I don't think you can get it in time. Maybe you can with some of these. Prosperity ticks up based on your ruler skill. Yeah, it goes up quite quickly for them. We don't have any prosperity. There's been a ton of fighting here. I mean, I still have some rebels to deal with right now. We have a reasonably sized army. I just did a wait for your manpower to re-increase mission, and our treasury is doing great. Mostly that we have all of our vassals transferring trade to us, giving us more than half of the trade power in the Nippon node, which is a node absolutely full of value. There is a little bit of money incoming, but there's basically 10 ducats here. And that's now the backbone of our economy. We have a few burger loans. We have a lot of... Well, we have these rebels. We have... Oh, those rebels are going away now. That's nice. But we're quite stable, and particularly we have no aggressive expansion at the moment. The daimyos can be pretty annoyed at us, but they can't do anything. They are subject, and they're all pretty loyal. The only one who isn't is Hatekeyama, who is probably about to get coalitioned. Maybe. This isn't a huge force, although they don't have that many troops. I think if I was that coalition, I would declare. They have this troop. They have this many troops. They just won a war against Date, who was conquered all of Usegi. Sengoku Japan is like this in the game. They conquered all of Usegi and got very big, and then they declared on Hatekeyama. Hatekeyama has a capital unmaintained. No, it's their capital fort, so it still has a garrison. Has a fort on their capital, which is a level 3 fort, which requires 9k troops to siege, which Usegi didn't have. Usegi stacked like 7k troops on there, and then Hatekeyama just sieged down everything, with apparently almost no troops at all. They probably just lost some more troops to rebels. It's kind of fine. I would like a few Hatekeyama provinces, most likely this one and this one. This one is Sengoku and is good land, so probably that as well. And it makes paper. Yeah, alright. I'll have it. But in Japan, for the short while, most, if not all, of my growth is going to be through annexing. When I last played this, estates were different. and there wasn't. I actually don't have it at the moment, but I will have it when I need it. There was not the possibility to do the Bushi integration policy. So when you integrate a subject, you get a penalty to diplorep. Diplorep is a really important modifier. I'm not going to explain the entire game. If you're watching this poorly edited rambling stream, you probably know the game already well. But yeah, this is new since I last played this, and when I last played this, I basically left everything as it was in Japan. Now I plan to annex quite a lot of Japan, or at least all of the south end of Japan. So that's what's happening at home. Then we can ask what we want to do elsewhere. So there's a few goals for this campaign. I'll write them down at some point, kind of at different levels of time. One big one is I want to spawn colonialism. So by 1500, I need to have taken provinces up here, specifically, it's normally the Kamchatdals who are there. I need to have taken that and caught it. And then I should be in range to send an explorer and a colonist over to Alaska, because the conditions for spawning colonialism are that the province owner has a quest for the New World, and a province in the New World is owned by them, and that can just be a colonist kind of just arrived. That's all we need. And then the bottom condition is that you have discovered the New World, but that must be true, presumably, if you are the province owner. So for that we will need a colonist and an explorer. I currently plan to go naval for my first idea set, and then to grab exploration just in time, get these two ideas, hopefully not need this one, and start using a colonist that way. I don't plan to do a ton of colonization that early. I don't plan to fill in exploration ideas. I plan to drop it eventually once I've explored enough and get expansion ideas instead. I will be using that colonist a lot, mostly to get adjacency to things, to fabricate claims. So yeah, that's one big goal, to have colonialism, can fill those conditions by 1500. Probably have to reload the save a bunch of times, but I will do the things you can do to make it more likely to spawn it. Other goals that are near-term relevant is to break Ming at some point. I don't necessarily need to break them too quickly, because what I also want from them is a lot of money. You can take max 5 loans in a peace deal, and 5 loans for Ming tends to be thousands of ducats. So I hope to do that quite a few times. I also plan, at the moment, I am Shinto. All my country is Shinto. As soon as I took the Osakawan provinces, I was able to send a missionary with no maintenance to Tosa, which turned the rebels into Shinto rebels, which I could then accept their demands and flip to Shinto. So I flipped to Shinto almost immediately, but I actually will... Oh, this is just rebels. I will plan to go Confucian. Confucian isn't the strongest, but it makes a lot of sense with... We will take quite a lot of dev here. I plan to probably take all of Korea and to accept Korean culture, and also to accept and take Wu and Wu culture provinces. Just very rich land. It's farmland. It's kind of the southern edge of the farmland of Ming. Farmland is the best province type on its own. One of the things that makes China so powerful. I'll talk a bit about, like, what actually all of our understanding of history is wrong. It is all inherited from people who inherited it. It is kind of a fiction invented by people who've never been to these places in the 1800s, making up narratives of their own righteousness and superiority. And a lot of that is reflected in this game, but also there's lots of things that kind of like, it is just a map of the world. The shapes of continents are mostly the same, and they mostly follow the same uh, behaviours, and yeah, this region is all farmland because China is at this moment in history and kind of the most developed country in the world. It is just a natural space between these three rivers that. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, maybe not. Oh, I hate that. That was often united. Spends a lot of history. History isn't really a length, but no, spends a lot of time united, which enables it to become very developed. Particularly, it has a bureaucratic system of governance that is so good that almost everyone who conquers China in any form takes it on. I'll probably talk about this more as I go, but one bugbear I have with the game is that this idea that the Renaissance spawns in Europe rather than in the Islamic world before the start of the game, and the idea that the Enlightenment spawns in Europe rather than in China before the start of the game, and the idea that the printing press spawns in Europe rather than in Korea before the start of the game is wild. It kind of means that these institutions mean something more than just their name. But yeah, the system of meritocratic recruitment into the civil service that is actually the kind of administrative backbone of the Enlightenment, that's been present in China for centuries, possibly millennia at this point. I'm not a history expert, but I am fascinated. Anyway, I want these provinces because they're nice farmland. Your gal has super ADHD brain. If you watch this, you're going to be watching some rambling. Hope you enjoy it. I'm going to be taking these provinces because they're nice farmland. They're a single culture, which means I can just accept one culture. And then the biggest reason is that these are two centres of trade in the Hangzhou node, and I absolutely want to have good control of the Hangzhou node because it's the one place the Nippon node feeds out to. And my first priority for the game is moving my trade capital to Malacca, which the Hangzhou node feeds straight into. This one. Thus, I can get all the considerable trade power I have in Nippon pretty much without anything getting in the way of it to Malacca. I probably won't. I'll only be partway through this plan by 1500. I hope by 1550 to both be a significant way for this plan, probably trade capital in Malacca and making lots of trade income. And also hopefully number one great power. We're in right now. We're getting there. Even just our own development is significant. Well, getting onto the great powers, which will be useful. That allows some extra things. But yeah, so then the other part of that goal is taking land and vassals in Malacca. Just because they will also affect my choices as I go. Some other priorities are to keep on pushing the Europeans back. Probably the Portuguese will arrive here first, and I basically want to eat them backwards. What I want to do is I want to do the opposite of the kind of natural flow of the game, and I want to follow my own trade power downstream. First to Malacca. I probably won't move my trade capital to the Cape, but we can get the trade straight to the Cape, and I will probably end up moving, taking a huge amount of land in the English Channel trade node. So I'll be doing kind of preemptive building up of a trade power base in places, and then establishing a new trade capital and sending it all there. So one of the priorities is hopefully to get the Cape of Good Hope before anyone else gets. That's just kind of an interesting little challenge to keep on persuading me to work this way, because otherwise you can easily forget about this. One of the central interesting things here is the number of decisions you have to make throughout the length of a campaign like this. And this will be a slow campaign with just thousands of clicks. Almost certainly millions. One of the interesting things is just the number of decisions, and some of those decisions are clearly weighty and powerful. Some of them are tiny. Many of them matter almost not at all. Which province you stand in while you're suppressing rebels, or when you're overflowing with development, where you do a dev click. But you have to, especially when trying to do a run like this, you have to be quite intentional about projecting yourself forward and round along your path, and our path is just naturally following the trade goods, especially because, just to say again, we can get trade from here straight to the Cape of Good Hope. So we won't worry too much about this part of the world for a while. Last time I did this, I tried a strategy where you take kind of the Upper Nile. That was based on an idea that the Mamluks are quite good at getting institutions because they normally border Cyprus. Cyprus is normally guaranteed by Venice and gets institutions from them, and so it's a kind of quick path to institutions. That didn't really do very much, and I don't think I'll do it again. I think I will just spawn printing press. Obviously I'll have spawned the colonialism myself, hopefully. But yeah, I will kind of skip Central Asia and India for quite a long time. Probably trying to do Diplo stuff as I go through them, and go around and kind of try and get to Europe before it has too much chance to grow into anything particularly scary. I want always... This is actually very good. I want to... Oh, this is really good. Spain isn't on here. Spain is my most scary enemy because they have the capacity to kind of be everywhere, but hopefully they are still colonizing but just not powerful, because I'd quite like to full annex European Spain and Portugal and just get their colonies. I'm not going to be... I will definitely be doing colonization. I'll get an Alaskan colony. I will try and conquer quite a lot of Mexico. Last time I did this, I got right at the start the Australian colony, which I probably won't do again. I will get it at some point, but it didn't do very much to get it at the beginning. But yeah, the idea is basically to stop any European power getting too powerful. That it's not just European powers, it's quite possible the Timurids will form the Mughals and get scary powerful. Bengal sometimes gets scary powerful, but I will just try and kind of moderate the entire world. This is going to be this strange exercise of kind of pruning the world into a state that I want it to be. It's completely fair to look at this as really quite dark. We are going to, with the kind of singular focus that a human mind can have, the emergent behaviour of a nation, even under a monarch, can't have. With a singular focus, we are going to get all of the ducats and then all of the monarch points out of this entire globe that we can. And on the way, the whole point of this, as well as it's hopefully going to be fun, it's hopefully going to be interesting, is I'm going to talk, often indirectly, but kind of all the time, about climate change and how it is that we come to be in the situation we are. Interesting. With regards to there being this unturnable leviathan that is leading us deeper and deeper into the climate crisis, whilst acknowledging and even acting against the climate crisis, trying to slow it, but completely ineffectively. We are accelerating into the climate crisis and our future is evaporating away from us. And the reason is full global capital capture. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to fully globally capture the world for the sake of producing capital, very directly in ducats, indirectly in monarch points. And we're going to kind of try and do the process of making the mostly global north extractive capitalist system early and more efficiently and more, honestly, violently than even they could manage. Okay. That's a super lot. I've talked about a lot. Perhaps I will edit it down, perhaps I will leave all of this in. We should get started. I should probably unpause at some point. We, right now, like I said earlier, we have basically no aggressive expansion against us, truly none. We might think that we wanted, therefore, to start conquering in the Girin trade node. That is quite tempting. Like, I would like more trade power here. It does just feed into my node. But it's not that much trade value here. I would like these. Oh, sorry. We're not starting yet. There's more to tell you. It's only a small thing. One other kind of side goal that I plan to follow is to conquer, one way or another, a long snake across to Siberia, and then to colonize. If I get there early enough, there's only one province I need to colonize, such that Russia cannot grow east. Last time I did this, Russia never annexed Perm. They never even became Russia. They stayed Muscovy, and I didn't need to do any of this. But it's one place where a European power grows a lot of power very cheaply and quickly as they use their Siberian frontier to colonize over here. I don't want that to happen, so I will push kind of as rapidly as I can across to somewhere in Siberia, hopefully all the way to that one province that I can cut them off at, and stop them from being able to access those lands. So I will definitely be arriving here, and quite soon, but not yet. For two reasons. One is that I can't get claims. I don't yet have claims bordering claims. I will get it soon. It's the first thing I will get. Even so, actually claiming your way around Korea is hell. Well, it can require as little as 2 claims if I was on this sea tile. It's probably only 3. I also probably try and claim that at some point. We are ryukyu, so we get absolutely no missions. All of our vassals get interesting missions, and I will be using that as we go. Not these vassals, but I will be picking vassals for their missions. Yeah, so we can't really hit this part of the world yet because we don't have claims, but also don't want to because I don't want to fight Ming on land. I want to fight Ming entirely by blockading their ports. If possible, I want to get a trade conflict CB against them, which I should probably look into pretty soon. There's going to be a lot of me just reading the EU4 wiki during this run. A little bit of downtime. I don't think I can face their navy yet. It's certainly a lot bigger than mine. Mine is like 15. I don't have to get up to full the size of their navy for 2 reasons. One is that I have all my vassals, but the other is that, especially with the ability to resmart, I'm smarter than Ming, and 15 ships can take on 100 ships if they do it in units of 10. Also, I'll capture ships as I go. Where is the military? I don't have a naval force limit of 20, so I can't yet select a naval doctrine, but when I can, I could select ship boarding to capture even more ships. I maybe will. I like capturing ships, but actually I'll probably be over naval force limit most of the time, and I maybe want good ships. But yeah, soon on the horizon is a war with Ming. I might decide to... No, I probably have to force myself to do it on this reform. I could wait until they do this reform, but they're on quite low mandate. They don't have any prosperity yet, and you can cause devastation just by blockading. So my priority locally, as well as annexing vassals, dealing with some rebels. Getting Tech 4. Like, it's not that late to not have Tech 4, but it's quite late. It doesn't tell you the year here, but yeah, it's quite late. Is to have a navy that can compete with them. Now, there's another thing that I was thinking of doing, which is I have free stability, which is a lot. It's quite nice, it does lots of good things, but I also could use it. And one thing that I was tempted to use it on is to vassalize someone in Malacca and start that process. Especially if I do it now, there won't be that much. It will give time between now and when I really arrive there for the aggressive expansion to die down. I was hoping that these two were allied. Sometimes they are. Let's see if they're rivals of each other. No, they're just not allied. Oh no, one of them is rival to the other. Because I could vassalize one, then take the provinces of the other, and get the whole state of Acre, which has 2 good centres of trades in it. Because I can't reach these areas yet. Economic? Yeah, economic colonial. Oh, this always feels like it's in the wrong place to me. I can't call really any further down than Visayas. But I can vassalize. And I can possibly call next to my vassal. That's another thing I need to look into. It would be good to take centres of trade, so another option would be to take something like Yambi and take the centre of trade for myself. I have so many daimyo troops that I'm not too worried, even if like I would do this, raise autonomy, have no power here, just kind of have it saved for later. I don't think anyone down here would declare on me, even though I'd have no force here, just because the actual number of my troops when declaring on me is huge, because I have all of my vassals' troops counted in that number. So, Siak is an interesting one to take, because it's a fort. No, it's not currently a fort, but it should be. It blocks the Straits of Johor. It's a China Ware province. I'm thinking a bit about which cultures I'm going to accept. I was thinking about accepting a Indonesian culture, but actually maybe I won't. I could accept Sumatran and capture and conquer this entire island. It's a pretty good territory. It's especially this end is lots of grasslands, although this tip of the island is Achinese rather than Sumatran. One annoying thing that happens here, that's dry lands, interesting, is you get earthquakes. I don't know if you get earthquakes on Malacca, so equally I maybe should be going for Malacca. I don't really mean earthquakes. I think it's presented in the game as volcanic eruptions, but you get seismic activity. And what does that seismic activity do? The event is called the Beginning of Fire. Oh, it's not the only one. There's a few volcanic events. Oh no, it looks like this one. You lose base production in the volcano, so you truly lose dev, which is effectively losing monarch points, which I don't really want. Okay, I have here a list of the places where volcanoes happen. Let's see if Malacca or Malaya or Johor is on that list. They are not. That's quite tempting. I could accept Malayan culture, conquer those provinces. Could even conquer a few from Ayutthaya, that's a nice province. These are Siamese, it's only this one that is Malayan. That makes quite good sense. I could declare. Well, no, actually, to do this, I need to be able to piece out the other ones early. Piece out someone so I can put the province next to them. I also have some idea. You can call provinces next to your vassals as long as it is on the same continent as you. So let's check continents. I think much. So I'm finding someone here who was hit by the fact that the Levant is in Asia, so they were trying to conquer in sorry, my brain sometimes. They were trying to conquer in very European person trying to conquer into the Levant. Okay, so actually, sorry, I realise you're not looking at much. China is the bottom of. No, wait, it is continent Asia. The EU4 wiki separates them for some reason, but I have no idea why. This is all continent Asia, so I can do it. For a second, I thought I couldn't do it. Okay, so yeah, I can take a vassal and then core next to them, and so I could spend my legitimacy is low, but I'm preparing to. I thought I could do it already. I messed up. I'm preparing to abdicate as soon as I can, which is November 11th, 1464, 20 years after the start of the game. So one option that's quite tempting would be to vassalize Delhi. Delhi has allies. They're only tech free. They have more ships than me. I do have to win this war in order to do this. Another option would be that's better to vassalize Yambi. I like the idea of taking Siak, but I can only do it if it can be done. Also, I would need them both to be in this war, which that's not happening here, that's not happening here. I need someone to be allied to their neighbour. Is anyone here allied to their neighbour? It's not the most common thing for AI to do. This whole plan might fall apart. You unfriendly people. I'm sure your neighbours are lovely. You should just simply ally them. I also want to take one at turn 8 or Tidor. It's not a huge rush, but if I take one and then I conquer the other's province, I can get them to have a colonist. One of my priorities is going to be having vassals who have colonists. Another way to do that is Majapahit. And also I will do that with, I think, the... I actually forget, I'm not going to try and guess, but some people in Oceania get an explorer for free, all of which are ways that I can avoid taking or keeping for too long exploration ideas. It's a personal preference, like bugbear of mine really, to try and not have exploration ideas. I just don't like them. Like after you get past the first couple, these are pretty damp colonial increases. Some of these are nothing. Yeah, there's probably a lot of benefit, and I probably should be getting them, but I'm doing this one partly out of interest. Okay. So I could vassalize someone in a war. No one here is in a war at the moment. And then let's start marking everyone down here as province of interest. And if they're declared war on, I mean, honestly, I could even enforce peace. No, because I have to have a vassal because I've already marked some of these provinces as people of interest. I have to have a vassal because then I'm allowed to call next to them. Did I mark Malacca? Yes. Yeah, let's just mark all of them. I'll get a lot of notifications, but it's fine. I'm going to be running slowly. This, for people who don't know, is a way to get notifications about things like when people go to war, which is really useful. So let's do it for Sambas. I've probably already done it for Brunei. Yes. Okay. Obviously there is more of the trade node over here, but I'm not so keen on taking these. Oh, no, let's do it. Let's fully, every single thing in the Malacca trade node is going to be a province of interest. Okay. The other option, which is the absolutely normal strategy to do, and probably what I should be doing, is to wait until I have a colonist and colonize here, and then just fabricate, and maybe I will do that. My manpower isn't so high, I'm not like itching to go to war. Ooh, they are a tributary of Ming. They are a tributary. They're kind of forgotten that these parts of the world started as Ming tributaries. I could go and take something in the Philippines. The only problem with the Philippines is the Philippines leads indirectly to Malacca. There's no way to get the wealth from it, even to Hangzhou. The wealth net has to go through the Moluccas, and I will also need power there to really get any of it out. I would have thought this was Hangzhou. It's probably Canton because this entire game is kind of designed assuming you are a European colonizer coming through here. If you're coming through here, you probably care more about getting wealth out of Canton. Because it's the first place you arrive, it's where Macau is, and also Hong Kong, although it's not. Hong Kong isn't a thing on this map. I can't remember exactly where Hong Kong is. It's somewhere along here. Sorry. Entirety of China. Gonna know a shit ton about the Thames Estuary when we get there, but I don't know much about this part of the world. I've got to stop talking and on pause. This is getting ridiculous, but I also just want to think about what I want. I can't build temples yet. I don't have the tech. I'm going to go and get them, and I'm going to start annexing subjects, and yeah, I was thinking about this plan a lot over the last few days of vassalizing someone down here, but one really annoying thing, I think it's fair, because there's a lot of ways in which shoguns are really overpowered, but one annoying thing is that you cannot declare for subjects CBs. You can't use their cause to declare. So, for example, it looks like I could vassalize Jambi and then declare on any of these people, but actually I can't. I could vassalize someone with you're a vassal of Malacca? I also don't want Malacca to get too powerful, which would mean that declaring war on you would pull in Pasai and Delhi. See, I have more troops and a lot more manpower, but they're not actually going to come here. Woo! Also, declaring war is going to get me almost 50 aggressive expansion just into doing it. So yeah, one option is... Well, no, I don't think this is even one option. Well, I was going to say one option is to get a subject with multiple provinces and seize a province, but I don't think I can seize provinces if they're out of coring range. I could take Palembang. Palembang is still a kingdom. They haven't become a pirate republic. It's quite powerful when they become a pirate republic. This is no longer a strait, which means that Palembang is less geographically crucial than it once was. It used to be that if you put a fort here, or even here, you would block movement across the strait, but it isn't one anymore. Let's let some time pass. Let's actually unpause and then we'll worry about this in the future. Going to be playing on speed 3 quite a lot of this campaign, and then otherwise on speed 2, so it'll be slow. I'm not really worried about this fort coming down. It did have to wait for ages for my manpower to get up enough to do the estate mission. That's 1460. Oh, cool! That's in a few days. I gave the monarch power to all of these guys, and then enough other stuff that their equilibrium is well over 50, and so. Did they just have a tick? That got a bit more scary. You're currently. Actually, no. This is currently going down. Let's not mess with it. No, I will move them at the end of the month. And then, one thing you can do is you can move troops after the monthly tick, and as long as you set them back on level suppression before the next monthly tick, then you haven't lost out on any of that level suppression. I don't want to call on this yet. The autonomy is so high that a call will do nothing. Now, I hope that my army will not, they will not yet engage this. Normally one of these things says that they're too scared to do so, but how many troops do I have there? 10. Bard, where are you going? Fine. I have time to change that if I need to. My biggest vassal is disloyal, but I don't really care. Annoyingly, this will happen throughout this campaign. It has happened until now because I was kind of too far from anyone else and at one point too small. There's lots of times where I won't be able to get rivals, and so I won't be able to get power projection, and so I won't be able to get the extra monarch points, which is annoying because that's a lot of monarch points that you get. I'm just gonna check quickly. It's unlikely, but is anyone anywhere near to vassalization that I would be interested in? I would be interested in vassalizing you. Oh, maybe I have to go exploration first. My plan was really to get exploration just in time for the for spawning colonialism. But I'm coming down to the idea that actually maybe I wait for the next reform. I get the first couple of exploration ideas, and I use that to get down into the trade node. Okay, so you have 21 days left on your siege tick. I want to get there. No, you can just stay here, because you'll be marching by the end of the month anyway. I want to get there on the 2nd. I might be wrong about this. I'm not certain if you get the tick. If I walk into a battle on the 1st, I'm not sure I get the morale and reinforcement tick. I might be losing a day every single month for the rest of this campaign because of being wrong about that, but I'm going to work under that assumption. Also, I should think about... right now my economy is good and I don't have that much to spend it on. I should probably be spending it on boats. Let's start by building a flagship. That costs... I can't build a flagship yet. Well then, I'm going to go over naval force limits. Let's go over naval force limit in the most effective way. And have some heavy ships. I also was planning on going naval first, which would give me tons of galley combat ability, and at the end of it I get that naval barrages cost nothing. Because sieges are one of the slowest bits of this game. You always, in a campaign like this, want to speed sieges up. Do I want more shock? No, I want shock. I don't want fire. These people are spearmen. They do not have guns. Sieges are always one of the slowest things, and finding a way to speed them up is a crucial bit of doing a campaign like this. Often that will mean that people are going almost immediately for offensive ideas, for the siege ability, but actually this is another way to do it, especially because I will be primarily a naval power for much of the game. I'll be relying on... Oof, for a second I thought they might get that tick. No, I miscalculated. I will be relying on vassals and mercenaries throughout. Okay, that's going to go fine. Could build some coastal defences. Maybe I will at some point. It seems unlikely. I don't really plan to be challenged or scared. Like, I'm a bit challenged and scared by Ming, but not so much. Let me look up quickly how to get a trade conflict CV. This page is very large. There's trade conflict, which is through the justified trade conflict covert action, which I can probably do in Hangzhou. Okay, yeah, that's really doable. That's maybe my first priority. I think if I win the first war against Ming, then I can take provinces on the land. What I will probably do, if I can get naval superiority, which is a big if, is take Guangdong. I think that Guangdong's still this area, but I will take this island, and I can stop them from ever walking onto it, but it means that I can walk into their lands and cause devastation whenever I want. So, it really did seem like I am allowed to do that. Like there isn't a tech. Yeah, no, it would say if there's a tech thing. I've never done this before. I can justify trade conflict. There is also trade war, which is a different one that you get by event. And the nice thing about trade conflict is that the war goal is to blockade ports, which is entirely what I plan to do. So I set one in the carrick building. Let's set another building. Do I set those buildings in stupid places? Places that are going to take ages. Yeah, I did. I should be building ships in Setsu. Tell you what, it's going to be kind of an economic cost to do this. I'm going to build both of them in Setsu. That way, they'll be out at almost the same time, but I won't be paying for them for as long. That's not true either. I've just chosen to do that because I've chosen to do it. Don't really want unrest. I don't hugely need army tradition. Maybe I can let it step down, but it's a shame. Yeah, actually, I really don't need army tradition because I can, whenever I need a general, I can look through at, I can't do it then, I'm disloyal. I can look through at, they don't have a general. Conscripting generals for my subjects. And these people without generals. Yeah, there. For example, that's great. There's Toki. I'll remember that in the future. Maybe. Okay, cool. Battle 1 in time to go back on suppressing. I also kind of plan to take humanist ideas at some point during this campaign. I'm still thinking about what to do about down here. If I can get any province down here, then I can start fabricating claims with claims board and claims. If I were to take this island, I'm going to call this island Chow. Sorry if that's stupid, because both of the provinces on it end with Chow. If I could take that island, then I would be 1, 2, 3 justifications away from being able to declare on Malacca, which would be a perfectly good way to get into this region. Fighting Malacca is probably a good thing to do. It would be a tough war, but it would be doable. Yeah, I think my God, they have really good spy detection. I think that's my priority. I gotta start building that up. I'm also building up spy network here to get around Korea. And kind of waiting for 1464 and the ability to get rid of my ruler and all that kind of stuff. Now I could be reducing autonomy. I probably should, especially because they recently had an uprising. I'm gonna look that up as well, actually. The other thing I like about this campaign is it does force me to learn all of the intricate mechanics of the game. I'm going to look at a Reddit post from 2015. I wonder if it's still true. In this post from 2015, everyone says you should never reduce autonomy. 2015 was apparently not very meta. So actually, I should be reducing autonomy just before rebels rise up. Is what I've just learned. So I've been doing wrong the entire time. It's okay. My income is from trade. It's quite a bit from taxation, but it's mostly from trade. So there's no great harm in having. Ooh, they've done the war, which I'm really glad about. I'm glad they've done the war, but I'm absolutely going to force them to seppuku. This is another thing that you can do with as the shogun. You can, when someone declares war on someone else, you can force them to seppuku, and it's in this menu. And you get 5 times. Oh, you get 5 times the new monarch's skills in monarch power. I thought it was their old monarch, so I always check who their old monarch was. But okay, no, we get the new monarch skills. But yeah, we get 3 monarch power. It will make them disloyal, but they're quite loyal. I just killed the person who I was married to. or who my family is married to. I don't know if there are poly marriages in the Japanese court of this time. Poly people exist at all times throughout history, but they're not always kind of allowed into the game. It's going to be quite hard for me to be present on two continents. I need a rival so I can humiliate them. It's wild that I don't have that. I could try for the Centers of Trade, and I will eventually discover America. But this age will end when Protestant starts, which is basically 1500. It can be a little bit behind. I think it can go into the 1510s sometimes. Okay, Hachikama is in this big war. It's kind of sad that I can't enforce peace anymore. That now, no, like once this would have been the perfect war for me to get involved in, because you can enforce peace on anyone. Like it doesn't have to be on the aggressor. So some poor person can get declared on, and if you have great relations with the huge nation that just declared against them, you can get in on the war, get to the forts first, and take them. It's pretty much certain that the number of people on this island will decrease, which is kind of a shame because that actually means lots of small vassals is better. Not when you have a limit on your number of diplomatic relations, but I don't have that. One interesting thing actually, Takeda, I made a vassal while I was still a autocracy, the government form that you start with. And they are truly a vassal. They're not a daimyo. They are taking up a diplo relations slot, and so I should annex them right now. Why am I not doing that? They've done their job of magically letting. Oh, you're so close. Yeah, let's do it for free. Unless, no, I'm probably pretty sure. So there's lots of things, you'll see them happening a lot that you can do to increase relations with someone. I will also get Diplo ideas as a priority. I need 25 to do this. Right. Hopefully these spies just won't be found. But that doesn't feel very guaranteed. Yeah, I'm going to make another heavy. I'm going to make it in... I don't really understand why it's so quick to make that. I'll make it in ryukyu. I could have this fleet mothballed, but it is kind of annoying. It takes... Mothballing saves a lot of the maintenance, you get the sailors back, but it takes quite a long time for it to get back up to full strength, and you have to be quite careful in the planning. There we go. I can annex you. Do I want to give the Bushi... Oh! I should have done this already. It's fine. I can do it now. Let's seize that land. Some diet. Probably don't want to give anything to the merchant guilds, even though... No, I don't want to do that anyway. +1 Diplo rep is cool. I don't want to spend the admin power. I think I can do this when I abdicate. Obviously I will take a hit in legitimacy from abdicating, but the heir is very legitimate. Yeah, so I'd fail if I got a Regency Council, but that's fine. Their influence isn't too high. It doesn't go up from this. Oh, maybe I could have done it. Does it go up when I finish it? No. Oh, I thought the person you chose made the influence go up. At the moment, everyone has the ones which are just purely influence and loyalty, and I should get rid of that because now there's enough there. Equilibrium is very high. People are a bit more disloyal, but I'm not too worried. I actually probably won't happen with Hatagama now because it has The coalition's been called on it. Does it still have 2k troops? It still has 2k troops. But it would be perfectly reasonable to release a subject in a peace offer and then to immediately conquer them. That's actually an interesting way to use losing a war, at least to like one of the participants in the war. For example, if I was to attack Jiangsu and I just did not want to fight Zibei, I could do that, offer them that. They might not want it, but if they did want it, I actually get two things out of that. I don't have to fight Zibei anymore, and after a truce, I can conquer these provinces the old-fashioned way. Because I am quite conquest-starved at the moment. My manpower is going to keep on going up. What I might do is I might play this for a while and then find that actually I want to take a completely different tactic. Go way back. The whole point of doing this was to annex this vassal. It does make other subjects not like me so much, which is a shame. So let's... You love me a ton. Who is disloyal? Who do I care about? Oh, you're currently disloyal. I can just turn off divert trade when I need to annex you. Does anybody not particularly like me? Tomo don't like me very much. You should like me. Like me. Liking me is really good. Takeda, have you done anything interesting with your province? It's 9 dev. It may always have been 9 dev. Is this actually a thing I want to do? It's not... Oh, I just spent some dev on it. I'm not low on Diplo rep, Diplo relations. Really struggling to find it. It's here, it's here, it's here. I'm just letting myself have royal marriages as I go. I don't think it is actually, because they're inland, they're a perfectly good province, they're a perfectly good vassal. Stupid of me to lose 5 Diplo points for no reason, but we have. There's little we can do about that. Jiangsu are very close to allying me. I could insult a rival. They're not very hard for Ming to conquer. Ming wouldn't struggle. They're not very disloyal. I wouldn't have the favours necessary to call them into war yet anyway. I'm kind of torn. I have been kind of preparing to ally them, but actually I really want Furdan. It's one of the few centres of trade here. I mean, I also really want Yilin, but I am quite tempted to ally Heishi. They haven't grown at all. Like, Zibei is the only native tribe that's grown at the moment, which is annoying, because I would love Ming to get unguarded nomadic frontier. Ooh, which they might get with Chagatai. Hey Chagatai. How you doing? Do I want a royal marriage Kona? Probably. They're not going to be declaring war on anyone. It's more legitimacy. That's all going to go away when... No, it's not going to go away when my ruler dies. I keep getting the legitimacy bonuses. Because they offered it. If I had offered it, I would lose those bonuses when I died. It's a really interesting question, one that I'll think about quite a lot as we go through this, of like, what is the identity of the person I am playing as? Is it a person? Is it a state? Like, is this ruler really in any way me? Obviously I'm going to abdicate them now. That's not 20 years. It's 19 years and 3 months. But okay. Yeah, it's strong. They have national unrest. Ship durability is kind of nice. Goods produced is kind of nice, but Do lose a stab. This isn't a great ruler. This is average. This is average 2. I might start getting rid of some rulers. Oh, that took my prestige exactly down to 0. I think it's also time to start. I now have a stab person. Yeah. Set 2 is a weird one because it doesn't really need to have autonomy decreased, in that it's going down a lot anyway. Let's take it down in Harima, in Beeson. Let's take it down in Harima, where there hasn't been a recent uprising, but the unrest isn't that high. I've only just slipped into having unrest. I think that modifier will go away. Let's let a month go by. Is there anything else I want to do? I can't yet annex you. It's 1468. That's quite a long time. You kind of never want to not be doing things. And I've been a little bit thrown off by... I didn't expect to be the Shogun this soon. I didn't expect it to be possible for Ashikaga to declare my vassal and bring them in. I guess I could have chosen to not be the Shogun, but no, it's worth being the Shogun. The sooner I'm the Shogun, the sooner I can start annexing people. So these are events that happen specifically to Shinto people, and I've never gone too far through this event chain because I've either stopped playing after Fall in Japan or something like that, or I've switched to Confucian. I did that last time as well. Yeah, I want the trade myself. I love trade. Trade is delicious to me. Okay, that's claim number 2. No, I don't have claims border claims yet. Do I need 600? I need 800. I'm so far from claims border claims. I could think about trying to take... Brunei would be a hell of a vassal. It's maybe more than 100%. Oh, it's 97%. Interesting. I would have so much aggressive expansion, but it's interesting. They're pretty allied. The one reason that I'm not so keen to pick up Brunei as a vassal, it's not where I want my trade ports, is that it's all jungle. I'm pretty sure they have the estate privilege that means that they can develop in jungle like normal, but I wouldn't be able to. I don't need to develop that much necessarily, but it's bad terrain for me. I do think I want to go into Malacca. Although Malacca has the downside of I can't protect it just by protecting the strait. So yeah, it could be a good vassal. I would fight Malacca. It would just be Pasai and Delhi. Oh my god, I could take all of them as vassals. That would be really tempting. Difficult war. Probably fighting. I don't get the sea ships on here, but it's not that many troops, but I only have 10k troops at the moment. Is anyone really under-allied? Arguably Palembang. Palembang does have a centre of trade. It is jungle, so I probably wouldn't necessarily take it. They have a castle there, which makes them a good tender and future things. Yeah, people would already be on a coalition at the start. Also, Magic Pirate would join. Why would Magic Pirate join? They're a tributary state of Magic Pirate. Okay. Delhi and Pasai are both allies to Malacca. Irritating. You are quite declarable on. I can take cores next to you. But I can't, without taking a province in the war, it doesn't really matter. I can't, good Alex, Malacca. I need to take a province in the war to... Oh, if I declare war on you, do Malacca's allies come in? Oh, you have an ally. I don't think they do. You have a lot of allies. Why have you got so many allies? Kedah. Okay, good. You have no allies. I could declare war on you. I would be at a coalition immediately. I don't know if I can set for peace Malacca if I do that. I think I should find this out. I should also see how awful, because that will only tell me the people that I actually get coalition by. I should see how awful the coalition would be. I don't know if this is good or bad allocation of resources, but I've made a copy of the save, so I can do this fine. It was Kedah, and declare war. I have diplomats. You actually don't need to like me or Tomo, it's not important. Maybe lose 2 stab from no CB? That's nice. Could go belligerent, but then I get all the allies. I wouldn't... No, this doesn't work, because I would need to peace out. I need to take the vassal and then do the peace deal, but I can't take Malacca without co-belligerating them. I could just co-belligerate them. It's definitely possible with Pahang, who has the same allies that they do. They probably don't win this war. Let's try it. Let's see. Malacca co-belligerented. Still 60 AE. I presume that AE is so high because it's so far away. And then if I was to, need to fight the war a bit. Let's go see how awful their fleets are. This is probably going to lead to me getting wiped out straight away. Another reason I need naval ideas, my generals currently suck. Fun thing about going between these places is that it will take you through the Paracel Islands. I didn't know. Yeah, and South China Sea, which is open sea, and your ships will suffer attrition. You have to actually path them to follow the coast. I should obviously be taking you as well. I probably should be bringing troops if I'm doing this with any level of sincerity. Yeah. Alright. I can only put 5k troops on my ships. This is not really a winnable war. But also, I kind of want lunch, and this is a good excuse to stop after this war is indeed not one. That's a shame. When you abdicate, they stop existing as a general, which doesn't actually make that much sense. I'm in this weird situation of having done everything in Japan so quickly. Like, I do have a really solid power base there, even though trade is dominating my income. Tax is good. But I did it so early that I don't have claims forwarding claims. I don't have idea groups. Fine. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. I'm all about that. Anyway, the actual reason to wait for this was to see what the peace treaty would do. I want a separate peace treaty with market that's 100 aggressive expansion. Who's joining the coalition? Everyone is joining the coalition, and they almost certainly are declaring like that's going to be a bigger army than mine. Malacca can't join, but that's kind of it. Let's try it. Let's try this war. It won't work. Like, dropping 5k troops anywhere is not going to do anything. I'm better off going and trying to find some fleets to fight. But equally, yep, this will happen. Yep, this isn't going to work. Let's let this battle play out. Let's see how badly I get absolutely wrecked. They have the same naval morale. We're kind of on the same level of tech. They have a lot of galleys. Oh, they have twice as many ships generally. Yeah, this is nothing. This is... I can retreat. I can go back to Setsu. What a fun war. Let's also check out the releasing nations. No. The cancelling. Yeah, they would love it if I cancelled subjects. They want me to release Imagawa. Now they want me to release Otomo. You know, I could do that and then conquer these people. That also means that I can... This is obviously stupid, but like, I can declare war on Ming. Imagine if this was an actual Iron Man and I just absolutely ruined it like that. 13th of August. Oh yeah, I guess it's when I last sent a diplomat. Okay. No, they won't do anything. You know, I could probably... Yep. That's really interesting. I can actually declare war on them and then lose subjects, win a few naval battles, hopefully, maybe cause them some devastation, like be a burden to them and then get them to do something useful for me. I can also do that via let's absolutely check it out by declaring Korea. This also would have been a good time to check if I can fight Ming's navies, which... Oh, you're chasing me. You're so mean. I know. Something else. Because I could capture Korea's navies. Okay, I'm allowed to bargain now. Offer cancel subjects. Yeah, they like that fine. That's super interesting. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you. I'm not going to say thank you for joining me because I don't know if anyone will. Well, you know, if you did. You don't get my gratitude, but you get my... Now you get my gratitude. Thanks all. Goodbye.